You are watching The New American Media. Hello, everybody. Welcome to The New American Media. My name is Brian Engelman, and I'm going to be your host today. This is Agree to Disagree. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. We got a lot on tap that we're going to get into. First of all, I want to thank everybody that we met last weekend over at the NAMM convention. That's National Association of Music Merchants. That's in Anaheim, California. We've been to like 10 or 15 of those in Nashville, Indianapolis, Austin, and Anaheim. So want a special thanks. Please take a look. We're putting a bunch of videos up. We talked with Fieldy from Korn. We talked with Jose Mangan from Sirius XM. Talked with really a whole bunch of people. Saw some really cool products. So take a look at the videos. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. By the way, if you're not following us on Twitter, please do so, because we send out those videos and you can just grab them from there and watch them on your Twitter feed. We're at American_media_. That's American_media_. Search The New American Media on Facebook and like our page. And check out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. So without further ado, that's such a weird phrase, actually. I don't know why I still say it, but I digress. We are going to bring in Blake Walley. Blake is a radio host of Eccentric Perspective. Can be heard Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays on freedomizerradio.com. And we're going to bring him in right now. We co-host with Blake on Mondays. Some Wednesdays, some Thursdays.
Hello.
Blake, how you doing, sir?
Excellent. How are you, Brian?
Living the dream, you know it. And
excellent.
You are live on the air, of course, here on Agree to Disagree. And this is kind of like a end-of-the-week recap, top news story extravaganza, bonanza, buffet, fiasco, fiesta, whatever. We're going to add as many adjectives as we can.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, so, I don't know, I think the way we're going to do this, we're just going to kind of bounce around story to story, and, you know, you kind of bring up a few, we'll bring up a few, and if anyone wants to join us in real time, just shoot us a direct message on Twitter at American_media_, and we can read your stuff live on the air, and you can check it out later when we embed it on our thenewamericanmedia.com page and the YouTube channel. So, I don't know, there's so much going on. I'm not sure where you want to start. I guess the one thing that's still going on is this guy in the bunker, you know? This horrible situation being on where this child is being held in Alabama in an underground bunker. I guess you just kind of file this under the don't give preppers a bad name category. You know, this is so bad. Dude goes on a bus and kills the bus driver and steals a kid, and God knows what's going on down there. And I don't know. Oh, of course, and here's the headline on CNN. Police say suspect is a doomsday prepper. Yeah, for the love of God. So what do you think about what's going on here? Obviously, other than, you know, thoughts and prayers go out to the family and hope that at least the kid gets out of this okay. What do you think about all this stuff?
You know what, Brian? To be honest, this is the first I've heard of this story. Maybe caught a little glimpse of it somewhere, but I didn't catch this one. This is a new. This is new to me. The bunker story. Did this start today?
No, this is like a day or two, man. Yeah, see, when that.
Oh my God!
I
know.
Like
ancient history.
I know. This is what's it say? Thursday.
The way the news moves. Yeah.
That kind of rhymes. The news moves. No, this is the one. This is obviously the one story you and I did not prep off air before, so of course we lead with it, and we're completely unprepared to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I just because this one is ongoing, I just kind of wanted to bring it up. And you know, someone's dead, and a kid's being held, and this guy's a weirdo, and you know, but really, CNN is already putting up there. The suspect is a doomsday prep. What does that mean? Suspect ate chicken for lunch. Oh, gotta ban chicken. I don't know. I'm getting tired of one person giving everything a bad name, but
no, it'd be hilarious. Yeah, you never hear like, they were a huge Brian Williams and Anderson Cooper fan, and they were found in a bunker. Yeah, it's never like that. But as soon as they find something they can use as a little, political tool to work against or to push their agenda, yes, they want to. Oh, by the way, yes, they're also a crazy doomsday prepper.
Suspect was wearing a Gap T-shirt. Gap International has been asked for comment, and no comment from the corporate office in Bangladesh. Yeah,
yes.
wow.
They owned a firearm and had more than 3 days' worth of food. They are crazy.
Yeah. Oh, okay. How about the people that murder people every day? And suspect snapped and murdered his boss. Suspect did not have more than 3 days of food on hand and did not watch a certain television show about doomsday prepping. You know, they don't report the opposite.
Yeah, that'd be good.
You know, suspect was not involved in the Democratic Party. Suspect did not go to any Tea Party rallies. No, you'll never hear that crap. But you always hear when one person does one thing and they happen to be linked to something, like it's an endemic problem. Something has to be done. You know, I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with bunkers or a workshop or something, but when you turn it into a creepy dungeon of, man, I don't even know. Yeah,
you're going to have to describe it because I don't even know anything about that story.
Just an underground bunker in Alabama. Dude shot This guy went and shot a school bus driver and grabbed a kid and took him down in the bunker, and we're on like 2 days of it now. So anyway, let's move past this story. Just like I said, thoughts and prayers out to the I mean, could you imagine if your kid or your niece or nephew or something was grabbed by some dude after he shot the bus driver and took him into some weird, creepy dungeon? Yeah.
I'd probably go vigilante, but that would be me.
Yeah, and they apparently have some communication through a PVC tube, and he got like a coloring book and crayons and stuff. I don't know, man. Jimmy Lee Dykes, a Vietnam veteran. Hey, you know what? A Vietnam veteran and a retired truck driver. So it could be like Larry when we do our shows on Freedomizer, when we do Eccentric Perspective. By the way, the thing I did not mention about your show, and I already did set it up, is that you can get it on iTunes. Search Eccentric Perspective. But we have a regular caller, Larry. He's also a host now. He does a show. But yeah, just kind of poking fun at Larry. But they're saying this guy's a Vietnam veteran and a retired truck driver. So, you know, Department of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano said that returning veterans could be potential terrorists, right? And if you're a prepper, you're a potential terrorist. So, I mean, this fits the bill. I think we need 23 executive orders from the White House on this. They need to ban digging and shovels.
Obviously,
no more shovels.
This could happen to anybody. So I think the only solution is to take everybody's guns away.
Take the shovels away.
Hey, if we got to take the shovels away, I guess we'll have to take the shovels away. So, you know.
Okay, how about this? Tim Bird, chief investigator with the Dale County Sheriff's Office, told the Southern Poverty Law Center's Hate Watch that this guy, Jimmy Lee Dykes, was a survivalist type with, quote, anti-America views. His friends and neighbors stated that he did not trust the government and he was a Vietnam vet and that he had PTSD, Bird told the civil rights group. He was standoffish, didn't socialize, or have any contact with anybody.
You know, it's a big dream for Mark Potok when he sees that, who's the head of the Southern Poverty Law Center. You know, they just love getting stuff like that. They can't wait to exploit that. They find some crazy Vietnam vet, some former veteran that did something weird and, abducted a kid. You know they can't wait to get in and start spinning that and working that to death.
Yeah, well, the sheriff... A reporter asked the sheriff what the community can do to help, and the sheriff just said pray. So, yep, we'll send our thoughts and prayers out here at the New American Media because really this is just absolutely horrible. Don't mean to make light of this in any way, but we're just pointing out the absurdity, not that we're making light of Sandy Hook, you know, but with a bunch of little kids getting killed. Of course, it's a sympathetic, horrible, disgusting thing that happened. But you don't just rush out and blame everything under the sun except the actions of a bad person or bad people.
I think you immediately try to ram through a bunch of federal laws and take everybody's rights away. I don't know, Brian. I'm starting to wonder about you and why I even do this show anymore with you.
No more shovels. You know what? Brian and Blake embark upon a no shovel campaign.
Right.
And it'll be a circle with a shovel diagonally through it. I can see it right now. Because it almost makes like that sideways line, meaning no.
Right. You could hurt somebody with those things. Those can be very dangerous in the wrong hands.
Hey, you know what? I'm just calling a spade a spade. Get it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It's a spade. It's a shovel. Ah! All right. I'm done. Moving on past this story. I'm going to toss it over to you. What do you have? Let's bring up one of the fantastic stories.
We're going to play that one. All
right.
We're
going to kind of play tennis for a little while.
Sounds good. All right. Let me get my screensaver here off. And I am going to go look at my Twitter feed for the week. And I am going to pull up.
And you are stalling.
Whoa! Yes, I am. I am stalling. How about this? There's a new There's a new petition going on for the White House, and that's demanding surveillance technology in the Congress and the White House. So let's see. So obviously, there's no secret the federal government is engaged in large-scale surveillance of the American people. Because they got to protect us from Al-Qaeda and all that stuff. So, buses, streetlights, police drones, facial recognition. So, in response, the conspiracy theorists over at InfoWars have decided to, for this, in response to that trend, turning the country into a prison system, they have decided to start a petition calling for the tables to be turned, demanding that an elaborate high-tech video and audio surveillance system be installed immediately in the Oval Office and all congressional offices where professional criminals connive and plot their treason in secret.
Wow.
Well, not pulling any punches, apparently.
This is Alex 1776 Jones we're talking about.
That would be correct. That just went on. That is out today, so we shall see how this petition goes.
I'm sure they're going to instantly act. I'm sure that the president is going to pass 23 executive orders making sure that the White House will be surveilled. And I'm sure that Al-Gore-Jazeera network will not want to pick up on the surveillance since, hey, we have a right to know. Al-Gore-Jazeera network will, or currently Al-Gore-Jazeera. I don't even know how you call it. We'll get to that in a second. But no, it speaks to a general mistrust of government right now. It kind of speaks to the fact that people just don't trust the government, and it's been something that's been growing for a while. That doesn't mean you're anti-America. That means that you want things to be better. It means that you don't want any shenanigans to be occurring. I think that's very American to try to, ensure justice and liberty for all, right?
Right. I don't see any issue with that. We can all make sure that our dear leader is safe in the Oval Office. We can all just keep an eye on them and any of our congressional people, just in case there's no, terrorism or shenanigans.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure they got nothing to hide, so it sounds fair to me.
How about shenanerism?
Shenanerism, I like that.
Yeah, it's like shady, shenaniganistic terrorism. I don't know.
I like that.
All right, well, we'll have to work on that. Well, you know what? We'll say no more shenanerism, and then we'll have like a no sign with the shovel going through it. We're gonna build something really bizarre, and so if anyone out there wants to draw us a graphic, send us a direct message on Twitter. I'm at American_media_, and Blake is at Eccentric99. Send us some weird drawings. But what you're talking about there.
Crude drawings in crayon. All right, go ahead.
Written on the back of an airplane napkin.
Yes.
With lipstick. How about that? Yes.
Ooh, there you go.
Hey now. Hey now. Okay, but this speaks to a growing trend where people are just becoming more and more uncomfortable with the information we're supposed to just take your medicine. Here's the truth. Deal with it. And we'll get to the MSNBC story in a second because there's two segues I could make, and I'm just going to go to this one first. So if you want to queue up the MSNBC story, we'll get to that one in a second. But
sure. This
is an article I found here Thursday, January 31st, This is from Newsmax, and I got one of those Crank radios with a year subscription to Newsmax. It's a decent magazine, and I like the Crank radio because hey,
they get some good stuff. Yeah, Newsmax is all right.
Yeah, they do all right. But this is, according to a Pew Research study, 53% of the American people feel that their rights are threatened by U.S. government. For the first time, a majority of Americans feel that the government threatens their individual rights and freedoms, according to a survey released on Thursday. 53% of the 1,502 adults surveyed between January 9 and 13 by the Pew Research Center responded that they believe that the federal government threatens their personal rights and freedom. They found that 43% disagreed. The findings come as President Barack Obama begins his second term and differ from survey results from March 2010, when adults were divided on the issue. 47% agreed the government represented a threat to personal freedoms, while 50% disagreed, Pew found. And men are found to be more likely than women to believe that their rights are under assault, while Republicans are far more likely than Democrats to say so. Huh. You know, I wonder if that would be the case back in 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07. You know, with Dick Cheney, dun 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 dun. You know, cue the music, Cheney. And George Bush and Donald Rumsfeld. Do you think Democrats were just hunky-dory, happy about the Patriot Act and about all these foreign wars at the time? Do you think Democrats were supporting, feeling comfortable in their country at that time? Is it just they're protecting their current guy and they're not willing to look at the facts, Blake? Or do you think the Republicans and men just really are more paranoid than others?
You know, there was an interesting piece put out, I do believe I tweeted out, it was by James Corbett, activist, talking about that, the blatant hypocrisy of what's going on with the liberals, like you just mentioned, during the Bush years, who were rightfully, calling for, war crimes and impeachment and stuff like that, and yet they're oddly silent now that their guy is in charge. And even after we've seen 4 years and we're seeing all these crazy wars and NDAA and scandals like Benghazi and Fast and Furious, and no, they're completely mum. So I'll have to dig that one up, but it's mostly a video. But
they're completely mum, Mumford and Son. I haven't used the word. They're completely mum.
I don't know where it came from.
That is an old timey vernacular right there. That is like grizzled 1870s prospector language, or I don't know, like Southern. I don't know.
I try to employ a complex vernacular to substantiate my intelligence.
I do that once a fortnight. That was a good little phrase. You've used that before, haven't you?
That's from the Red Stripe commercial.
Oh.
The big words in the office. All right, it was a pretty funny commercial.
No, I have not seen that, but I think I'm gonna have to see it now.
Okay.
What?
What?
Strap a cheetah to her back. Sounds like you've been thinking about this.
Yay, big words. All right, never mind.
All right.
I will tweet it to you.
All right, tweet it out. He's at Eccentric99. We're at American_media_. But let's talk about the general mistrust of things, moving away from the Pew Research study, move over to MSNBC for a second here, because I'm sure you're going to get into the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman thing, but just to set it up, let me just make this point, and I'll let you get to both of the things you're going to get into here. I went to the NAMM convention, I said earlier in the program, Blake, for all the music technology, all the drums and guitars and microphones and cables and lighting and everything you can imagine. We went to the Sony software booth, their area, and they showed us this new software where, say you're at a wedding and you're doing, you're recording all the vows or something, and some truck drives past and honks their horn. Right in the middle of something you're trying to hear, or there's an airplane that's going overhead and it kind of drowns out the sound, or somebody's coughing and they keep coughing and it sounds the same. They have a way that you can put all this information in here, and they say it's like unbaking a cake, and you can take out certain sounds, and you can grab them visually and just remove them and their frequencies from the mix. So you can do a lot of tricks, even far past what MSNBC's been doing, but once again, it just goes to the lack of trust when we watch television, when we hear our politicians speak, when we dig into stories like Benghazi, when we don't get real answers. And when we've been lied to before, like MSNBC has done, that's part of the reason why that 53% number starts climbing, is because you just can't trust what you hear or what you see anymore. So I'll stop talking now. Tell us about the MSNBC story.
Well, yes, they were busted for the second time. I would say this year. Actually, the first time was 10 months ago, so technically we're in a new calendar year. But yes, so they were talking about the I forget exactly the hearing. It was about guns, and they had a dad from the Sandy Hook. Poor guy. His son was, I believe, murdered at the Sandy Hook thing. And so he was asking people in the crowd, whether they needed certain assault weapons or, 30-round clips or what have you. And the MSNBC decided to edit the tape to make it sound like people were heckling him, when that was not what happened at all. When the guy asked his question, there was a silence, and nobody really wanted to answer. And then when he repeated himself, then some people started chiming in, like, the Second Amendment shall not be infringed, blah, blah, blah. But, the point is that MSNBC, did cause a video edit to push an agenda instead of just reporting the actual facts. So it was very dangerous. Not as dangerous as Trayvon Martin, which was just, which actually led to some firings and some. I think they're still getting sued for that, if I do recall correctly. But this is another one. They really, they're hurt. They don't really have much journalistic integrity left to hurt. But that's really dangerous when you're actually editing news to fit an agenda. Rather than reporting on the facts. So, bad news.
Yeah, well, if you're going to MSNBC for truth, I seriously suggest that you may want to reconsider
You're in
that
a lot of trouble
decision.
You are, yes.
Yeah, I
don't even know where to send you. Ed Schultz, no. Of course, Al Sharpton or Chris Matthews, Rachel Maddow. Who else do we have? Is there anybody worth trusting there? I don't really... I don't know if there is one. Lawrence O'Donnell. No, I think that's pretty much named the who's who.
There's who's
Martin
that?
Bashir.
Mary
Joe
Catherine
Scarborough.
Ham. Mary Catherine Ham. She's on that show, right? That 4-person show. Mary Catherine Ham.
I don't know. I thought that was like an old Saturday Night Live bit.
It almost sounds like an old Saturday Night bit name.
Yeah.
No, you're thinking of Mary. Who are you thinking
Catherine
of?
Gallagher or something? I forget.
I don't know.
I don't know.
No, she's the lone conservative voice on that 4-person roundtable. She's the tomato can like Bob Beckel is on the 5.
Oh, I thought they had that one guy with the lisp or whatever. That was like their one conservative.
It might have him too. I don't know. But this is the cute girl with the glasses that's on there. I think she was with Glenn Beck for a while and. Before that, something else. But anyway, yeah. If you're going to MSNBC to get your truth, I seriously suggest that you just join us over here at thenewamericanmedia.com a little bit. Maybe check out Natural News. Go to Coast to Coast AM. Maybe check out an InfoWars. Maybe Eccentric Perspective or Freedomizer Radio. Maybe expand your horizons and see what else there is. Activist Post. Hey, let's name all the great websites. You got Breitbart, you got The Blaze, you got... I like Newsmax.
There's some bias.
You're going to find tons of bias on all of them.
Right.
But you got to know your sources. You got to know what Drudge is going to find.
It's good to get a good mix of stuff. And Drudge does a good mix of stuff. It's mostly conservative, yes, but they do... put a lot of other stuff in there as well.
All right. Well, speaking of putting a lot of other stuff in there as well, Burger King admits that it has been selling beef burgers and Whoppers containing horse meat. Well, I just happened to be scrolling through it at the time. Burger King has tonight, this is published, today, yesterday, January 31st. Burger King has tonight admitted that it has been selling burgers and Whoppers. Oh, I mean, isn't a Whopper a burger? Anyway, lousy writing. Selling burgers containing horse meat, despite 2 weeks of denials. The fast food chain, which has more than 500 UK outlets, had earlier given a series of absolute assurances. Oh, hey, cue up the Bob Menendez story. Because that's a good segue here. Had earlier given a series of absolute assurances that its products were not involved. However, new tests have revealed these guarantees were incorrect in a revelation that threatens to destroy the trust of customers. Talking about destroying the trust of the people biting the hand that feeds you. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I don't know, mixing my metaphors here. It also raises serious questions about whether the food company, which sells around 1 million burgers a week in the UK. Now, by the way, this is from the Mail. The Daily Mail, so this is a UK kind of story. It sells around 1 million burgers a week in the UK, has any good idea about what goes into its products. They're saying, well, you know what, maybe they don't even know what's in their meat. Which one would be worse, if they're lying about it or they don't know? What's worse, getting a prostitute or getting a prostitute that you didn't know was under 18? You didn't know she was 14. Yeah, anyway, cue up the Bob Menendez story. That's coming up next. The contaminated burgers were made by the Irish-based processing company Silvercrest, which is part of the ABP.
Blame the Irish. All right.
They're not talking about French fries and potatoes, are they? Anyway, the same company... it's a stupid joke. The same company also made tainted burgers for Tesco, ADSA, and Co-op. among others. Burger King has faced allegations of orchestrating a cover-up. Do we have a Benghazi story today? Anyway, of its links to the horse meat scandal in order to give it time to find an alternative supplier. So, do you want to eat horse meat? I don't even know if horse meat's bad. I don't know.
But I was going to think, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's actually pretty good. Maybe we've been missing out all this time.
We might have, but I think truth in labeling, I was behind Prop 37 in California. I just want to know what's in my food. I want to know if my stuff's genetically modified, Franken-food, or if it's food. now I feel like Lewis Black. I just want to know if it's food. Anyway, what do you think about this? It's kind of gross because that's not what you're trying to eat. I wouldn't want eel in there. I wouldn't want scorpion in there. I wouldn't want pork in there. If you're getting a burger, you think it's made of beef. You know, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
It's hard to say. Well, yeah, I don't know because I haven't been to Burger King or McDonald's or any of those awful places in many years, so I don't know what they. I'd be kind of nervous about eating anything that's like 99 cents. You get your 99-cent value meal, and it's stayed 99 cents for a number of years now when costs keep going up. So,
they do get smaller. The burgers do get
portions get smaller.
Now, you actually in Las Vegas, you drive around. You'll make 4 left turns to avoid driving past that 99-cent store. Like you actually go out of your way to avoid the 99-cent store because you have a thing with 99. That's why your Twitter feed's Eccentric 99.
Oh, yeah, right.
So I think, what is that, triskaidekaphobia, where you have a irrational fear of the number 13?
Yeah.
Why do we all know that, triskaidekaphobia? But what is the fear of 99? Because I think you've been bitten by that bug, Blake. That was a triple alliteration, by the way. Triple word score.
I think that stems back way back in the day when I was a big Cubs fan, and I was my favorite player. I had 2 favorite players, and one of them was Mitch Williams, who wore 99.
Wild thing.
Yep.
Wait, was that back in 1999? Were you partying like Prince? 1999.
That was more like 89.
Come on, just humor me. Just humor me. It was 1999, wasn't it?
Yeah, and 89 was I think one of the last years Mitch Williams was with the Cubs.
Yeah, well, Burger King Vice President says we are deeply troubled by the findings of our investigation and apologize to our guests who trust us to source only the highest quality 100% beef burgers. Oh, boy. What a, ugh. I don't know, that is just
Do you think they
foul.
would do that on purpose if it could get costs and I think they could get away with it? Like, how do you get horse meat in there? Something's odd about it. I'm not going to really care a whole lot. I mean, it's probably... And like I said, we don't even know what horse tastes like, but of course it is a bit misleading to do that, and it's just disingenuous. It's not good. It's good they got called out on it, but I'd like to get a little bit of answers on how that would actually happen to begin with. But I guess that's what the kind of risks you're taking when you're getting a 99-cent cheeseburger somewhere.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the risks you're getting if you're. If you're down in a strange island country getting very young prostitutes, and let's go to that story. Bob Menendez, we've
it's a great
referenced it a few
great
times.
headline. Great headline from the Daily Caller.
Oh wait, before you get to it, was the headline Bob Menendez's? How would you say it? Bob Menendez's double Z.
Right.
Bob Menendez's. 14. No, hold on.
Plural.
Bob Menendez. Oh, so it would just be Menendez apostrophe. Okay, so Bob Menendez,
no apostrophe.
dead 14-year-old hooker didn't exist.
Right.
Something like that.
No, more like Senator Bob Menendez likes the youngest and newest girls. So he doesn't like all the old, worn-out ones.
Wait, what was the Burger King quote? They trust him for only 100% pure quality, this, that, and the other, and have it your way. Oh, there's a good Burger King joke.
Have it your way.
Yeah, Bob Menendez, have it your way, buddy. Underage little kids.
Whatever.
But if this is something I'm not familiar with, Blake, because I've never I've never engaged in the act of johndom or prostitution.
You've never taken huge political donations from a shady doctor who flew you out to wild sex parties in the Dominican Republic?
Wait, are we talking University of Miami football? Are we talking? Hang on. I missed the story here. No, what I'm saying is that I've never engaged in prostitution, and I sure as hell hope I never do. But is there some sort of assurance when you're getting into something like that the people you're getting involved
well, apparently
with?
Bob Menendez did like to have them checked out, like to take his precautions, and of course like to go after the new ones. So they weren't.
But are they supposed to be 18? Is what I'm saying. Whatever the legal age is.
Well,
like if you go to an agency or whatever this prostitution thing is, like, are the people or it's like, look, man, when you start paying for sex, you could pick up STDs, you could pick up a 14-year-old. It's all a crapshoot at that point. I mean, was there any assurance where he might not have been aware that they were that young, or that he was being lied to, or he was being lied to with a wink, wink, and he knew better, but he could claim that he wasn't told? I know we're getting into the weird details of this, but
the thing is, I don't think it was guilt. I don't think it wasn't illegal from what I see, and by their laws in the Dominican Republic. No,
they have laws in the Dominican Republic.
Right?
No, I don't know. I'm just kidding, folks. I've never been there. I love all countries and such. Okay,
right, right. So, but no, it is still technically unethical, especially for a sitting senator to be doing that. And of course that probably comes at a bad time, since he's in this big immigration deal with Rubio and some of the other who's who. I forget who exactly is up there. That's one of the big stories going on. Yeah, Chucky Schumer and John McCain and Lindsey Graham. Yeah, it's not looking so good. It's starting to really lose its credibility there. So not a good thing with the immigration reform. So
there are a lot of questions that would need to be answered on something like that. There are a lot of questions.
And it's been buried for a while. The other media really isn't covering it. So kudos to the Daily Caller for digging this one up.
Let me back up just a second. We may have even we'll have to listen to the replay because I don't recall. Did we run past the basic details of Bob Menendez? Who he is, where he sits, how long he's been doing it, who he met with. Like, I think you and I know the story so well, we might have even run past just the setup.
Perhaps. So, okay, in a little noticed email published online Wednesday by Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, a young Dominican woman wrote 9 months ago that she slept with 59-year-old New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez at a series of sex parties organized by Dr. Solomon Melgen, a longtime Menendez campaign donor. And that senator also likes the youngest and newest girls, the woman wrote on April 21st, according to a English translation provided to the Daily Caller. And let's see, quote, "In the beginning he seemed so serious because he never spoke to anyone, but he is just like the others and has just about the same taste as the doctor. Very refined. I think they were taking us more often to get us checked medically because of him." So, anyway, yes, he's senator.
They'll check you. They'll check you out for herpes, but they won't check your ID.
Right, but like I said,
oh boy,
in their country, it's not. Their age of consent is a couple years younger, so technically he didn't break any laws.
So is 14 the age of consent?
But that doesn't make him less of a scumbag if you're, just because you're an American and you go to, Thailand or something, and you're allowed to sleep with a 16-year-old, doesn't make it necessarily like you're a great guy or that it's okay. But I guess you can do what you got to do. But this is a senator who's on like an ethics committee, and you're banging a bunch of prostitutes and wild sex parties. You're married. I believe he is married, and I guess he's just kind of a scumbag. But anyway. Yeah, he got busted. It's pretty embarrassing. He's running from the press right now, and it's probably going to, mess up the immigration reform thing.
So you think that's going to mess up immigration reform?
Well, because he is one of like the big five, I believe, because you're talking about 5 major people that are on this board, or is it 6? I can't remember. And it's your John McCain, Lindsey Graham, Chucky Schumer, and Marco Rubio, along with Bob Menendez, that are the brainchild, the brain whatever, the behind this reform. I don't know, who knows what they're going to come up with, but that's going to cause a problem, I would think.
Well, all right, we'll keep an eye on it, because the whole immigration thing, we got to figure out something with it. I don't know.
Yeah, nobody seems to have any idea how it's actually going to work. And
how long can the people that are naturalized, what do they call it, naturalized or not legalized? There's several different phrases for how they determine, becoming a citizen or whatever, but. For how long? How many generations can't vote since they broke the law? Well, you just get in. Can you vote? Can you sign up for welfare? Do you have to pay taxes? Aren't there things from different countries where there's a quota for how many people of a certain from a certain other country, an emigrating country? Aren't there numbers, a quota for a maximum of how many people can get in? If so, if there are countries where more people have come in from illegally, does that punish that country by how long do you stop people coming in from that country because you've just let 6 million people from El Salvador, from Venezuela, from Mexico? I don't know. I mean, immigration, it's fine. This country, that's what we do, but we got to deal with the fact. Here's what I did. Here's what I did when I was working as a promoter. And I may do so again at some point. I like doing live shows. But there were several instances where we'd book 5 or 6 bands for a night. And there was like 30 minutes before the doors officially opened. But the first band would be inside through the side door setting up their stuff on stage. Well, some of their friends would come in the side door and they just kind of hang around and, I'm not going to pay cover, And so what we'd do, we'd turn on the lights and say, all right, everybody. And I mean everybody, including the band, come on out to the front door. Clear the room. And everybody leaves, goes to the line, and everyone, because you got to check their ID, just like Menendez. Was he checking to make sure they're 14? Was he checking to make sure they didn't have chlamydia? All right, well, at a nightclub, you got to check to make sure that they're 21 years of age. And if you're in the band, you get your wristband. If you're a friend of the band, you pay your $10 cover charge. What is the cover charge for somebody that snuck into Disneyland without buying a ticket? Is it the price of a ticket? Is it 2 times the price of a ticket? Is it 3 times the price of a ticket plus probation? Are they banned from the park? There are so many questions where I know I'm mixing metaphors here, but I don't know. I haven't heard this in-depth kind of laying out. If A, then B, C, and D. If E, then F, G, and H. Like under what parameters are we going to try this immigration reform? I don't know, Blake. I just blanket saying, yeah, everybody's cool, or yeah, everybody goes home. Okay, maybe none of those two extremes are going to work, but what's something in the middle that makes sense? I still haven't heard it yet.
No, I haven't heard anything on how they're going to actually try to do that. I mean, they seem to want to have it go through, but it doesn't seem to have any... I don't understand how you could possibly do that right now with the system as messed up as it is, as corrupt as things are, with the economy as bad as it is. I mean, there's so many variables and so many things, and yeah, you're rewarding people that are in here illegally. I mean, it's a huge issue, and and the other thing that concerns me is the people that are actually in charge right now. And the people that are actually, going to be pushing this thing through and penning it up, Chucky Schumer. I mean, that's a pretty much a pretty good cause for concern right there. John McCain or Lindsey Graham, not exactly my favorite group of people.
Lindsey Grahamnesty?
Lindsey Graham.
It's
yep,
Grahamnesty.
Right?
Grahamnesty. You call him an old queen. That's kind of mean. That's kind of mean. Lindsey Grahamnesty, the queen. You see now, why are you calling him a queen? You did that before, and I'm not a Lindsey Graham fan, but why is he a queen? Come on, Blake.
No, I guess technically he's still in the closet, so he has not made an official announcement, even though I think everybody knows, except him. I have no idea.
Yeah,
he must have some incredible dirt on him. You think? You wonder what they actually have on him, if they could just pull his strings and say, "Hey, this is never mind."
Well, he
I
does.
don't even want to speculate.
He does look like a. He does look like one of those marionette puppets where like dop, 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 like where the jaw just kind of where it just kind of yaps. It's a marionette and it's just clickety clacking like dop, 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 dop.
Yeah, well,
like
same with John McCain. Yeah, that's why I get the idea of McCain's like he's somebody that will do whatever he's told. I don't know.
Well, okay. Well, speaking of gay, in something that we can actually identify, other than your wild accusations, Blake, about Lindsey Graham-nisty's orientation.
That's very bold, I know, to actually put that on him, because nobody would ever believe it. All right.
You're just go. You know, this is starting to remind me of the show we did the other day when you started getting into women serving in combat, and it was like every sentence you said, it was literally like the shovel comment, where here, dig another hole, dig a little deeper on this one. Anyway, but speaking of gay,
deal with some very complicated issues. Yeah, that's one of them for sure. I don't want to sound like I'm sexist, but I'm not going to do. But at the same time, I don't. I think there's something wrong with women in frontline combat, but I'm not going to go rally against it or say you can't do it. I just don't understand why people are really pushing for it like it's some sort of a. I don't know. It's not a big activist something to stand for, but whatever. If you want to jump into a foxhole and fight for your country, whatever. Go ahead and do what you got to do.
Well, let's transition away from Lindsey Graham-nisty into this. This is from NFL.com. The recent arrest of former San Francisco 49ers offensive tackle Kwame Harris for alleged domestic assault against his ex-boyfriend raised an interesting question during the Super Bowl week. How would an openly gay NFL player be accepted in the locker room? Comments made by 49ers cornerback Chris Culliver made it clear he would not welcome a gay teammate. Quote, "I don't do the gay guys. I don't do that." Culliver, I'm going to give him a little bit of an accent. I don't know what he talks like. I don't recall. No, yeah, I'll stop. I'll stop the accent. Unless you want to give him a Lindsey Graham accent. No, we won't do that either.
Yeah, if I had the article in front of me, I don't. I didn't.
What if it was Mark Levin saying, "I don't do the gay guys. I don't do that."
I don't do the gay guys. I don't do that.
It would be a little more angry though, right? Toward the end, so it's like, I don't do the gay guys. I don't do that. Kind of like screaming, I don't do that.
I don't do the gay guys. I don't do that.
All right, before we blow out the voice, Chris Culliver, 49ers cornerback, says, "I don't do the gay guys. I don't do that," Culliver told Artie Lang on his radio show Tuesday via Yahoo Sports. When asked if a gay teammate would be welcomed, Culliver were asked if there were any gay players in the 49ers. "We don't have any gay guys on the team," Culliver said. "They got to get up out of here if they do. Can't be with that sweet stuff." Okay, number one, it's a really stupid comment. It's very ignorant. It's just grammatically. I'm just talking as far as the AP style book. I don't know if this gentleman went to college. He doesn't really seem able to form coherent thoughts or coherent sentences. Yeah, but right. It's Super Bowl week, so this is something to talk about. It's something to mention, and you brought up Lindsay, the feminine name. No, I guess it's a masculine. I guess it's a dual name. It can go both ways. No more jokes about Lindsey Graham. I swear. But anyway,
Lindsey Graham. Yeah.
Anyway,
that's three big issues. I don't want to say big issues, but those are three issues that are it's really tough to have an answer that works for everybody, those are really complicated things. You're talking about openly gay football players, and then, of course, women in frontline combat and immigration. Those are three issues I really don't have a good answer to on any of those things.
Well, this says Culliver will take deserved or deserved. I've heard people say deserved. Culliver will take deserved criticism for his remarks, but the honest comments hardly should come as a surprise. Homophobia runs rampant in professional sports. Culliver is just less guarded about his actual feelings than some players. I suspect those feelings, this is from the NFL.com story, because I'm not saying this. I suspect those feelings won't change until years after a gay player has the courage to come out with his sexuality in public. More than 65 years after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. Unfortunately, it's difficult to imagine a player coming out of the closet. Of course, not all players agree with Culliver. Baltimore Ravens linebacker Brendan, say it,
Mondieo, I forget.
Close
I'd have to look at the name in front of me.
What's the county in Cleveland?
Cuyahoga.
See, now I ruined it.
Damn it.
You used to say it hilarious. Cuyahoga. Anyway,
right.
Brandon Yanbede.
Mondieo. I don't know.
Anyway, has spent part of his Super Bowl week promoting gay rights and equality. So, you got a guy on the Ravens pushing for gay marriage equality, and you got a guy in the 49ers talking about it.
Hey, I'm okay with the equality. I'm okay with the marriage. I'm okay with being openly gay in a lot of situations. I just, when you're in a small occupation where you actually have to, like, shower naked with your coworkers, then maybe it's not exactly maybe the greatest environment to be openly gay in. I don't know. I mean, that's a tough question. It's up to the people and the personnel whether they want to deal with that or if the individual really wants to come out of the closet. I don't actually know what percentage of athletes are gay. That's another story. I have no idea if it's more or less or what have you. So it all depends on the percentages, I guess. I mean, if they really want to, come out of the closet, I suppose they could, and I'll support their, to protect their rights or whatever. But I guess it's hard for me to say. I don't want to tell people that they should live in the closet. But I mean, how many people are actually, professional football players, and you're actually going to be showering with other naked dudes in a locker room where you got to have some sort of integrity in the locker room, I suppose, and I don't know how that affects things, or maybe things are different now. I don't know. There's a lot of variables to that, and it's a complicated issue, and I'm just not really going to get passionately involved on either side of it.
Well, you brought up a good point because we briefly discussed this topic on your radio show, Eccentric Perspective. By the way, if you haven't checked it out, it's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays on freedomizerradio.com between noon and 1:30 p.m. Pacific. You can also sign up for it on iTunes at just running a search for Eccentric Perspective. But you brought up a good point. I want to read to you, and I'll go back to back here. This is Culliver's quotes at first and then his apology, because you had a good point on this the other day, and I want you to kind of reiterate this. Quote, I don't do the gay guys. I don't do that. We don't have any gay guys on the team. They got to get up out of here if they do. Can't be with that sweet stuff. Now, here's the apology. The derogatory comments I made yesterday were a reflection of thoughts in my head, but they are not how I feel. It has taken me seeing them in print to realize that they are hurtful and ugly. Those discriminating feelings are not truly in my heart. Further, I apologize to those who I have hurt and offended, and I pledge to learn and grow from this experience.
Yes, I love the written statement. Yeah, you know what it reminds me of is the Dave Chappelle when he used to make fun of Little John. When he used to yeah. I can't do that, but always at the very end he would articulate in perfect English. And to his credit, Little John was a pretty smart guy. I got to see him on the Celebrity Apprentice. So
you ever see Key and Peele with the Obama translator?
Love Key and Peele. Yes, they do a very good job.
Because they do it backwards. Guys. They do it backwards where people. I just want to say that I think it's clear that the importance of Obamacare must not be understated, and we must pass this important legislation. And then the other dude's like he's translating Obama's rage.
But he really, yes, no, I know.
I'm telling you, fools, we're gonna get this done. It's the opposite of that, which is pretty funny.
Right.
That might be the one component of a Barack Obama re-election that I'm okay with. That there'll be some more skits from Key and Peele doing the Obama translator. And that might be the only thing I'm looking forward to for another 4 years from our current president. Is there anything else? What else could I? What do you? I'm trying to think of.
More scandals, more, I don't know.
It'll keep us busy talking about weird things.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing? I don't know. Anyway, but if you haven't seen Key and Peele with the Obama translator, it's hilarious. But you said that it seemed like this 49ers player Culliver, that how many IQ points did he shoot up in his apology?
What I was doing is I was actually reading one of the comments on that article where it said, and it actually just pointed that out because he made all these really ignorant statement, and then of course, obviously the team got to him and released a statement. I don't know if it was on his behalf or what have you, but yeah, it was like his IQ had gone up 100 points. According to the commenter, and yes, it was a very good observation because that's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anyway, moving on from this story about the Super Bowl, let's talk about this one, because I think this is pretty interesting. At least 10 restaurants, I know I'm starting to take over the stories here, but I'll bounce them back to you. You can have two in a row. At least 10 restaurants in New Orleans aren't willing to serve Roger Goodell this week, and you got to see the pictures here. You know what, I'm just going to, oh no, I did tweet this out. Yeah, I already tweeted it out. Check it out at American_media_. It says, "Go to hell, Goodell." I used to have a "Go to hell, Modell" T-shirt when Art Modell stole the Browns, but that's another story. But it's got a picture of Roger Goodell, and then in another place it says, "Do not serve." And then there's an effigy of Roger Goodell hanging outside of a place. You got to be careful in the South doing that. Anyway, this is from Yahoo Shutdown Corner. It says, "Hanging a man in effigy is one thing, but denying him access to the full spread of your city's famous culinary offerings? Well, that's just downright cold, New Orleans. No matter whether it damages the upstanding rep of Southern hospitality, there are at least 10 establishments in New Orleans that refuse to serve NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell any food or drink this week. Eater.com has been compiling a running list of restaurants and bars that are closed to the commish. They include noted sports bar Finn McCool's and fried chicken favorite Coop's Place. Here's a slideshow of them. The local eateries, of course, are still steamed over Goodell's actions during the New Orleans Saints Bounty Gate scandal and blame the commissioner for the team's playoff-less season. For his part, Goodell responded to the less-than-ideal reception with good humor during his big press conference on Friday afternoon. Quote, "I couldn't feel more welcomed here. I had a float in the Mardi Gras parade. We have a voodoo doll." He then got serious, acknowledging the Saints' big role in the return of the city post-Katrina. But really, Roger Goodell, without a whole bunch, I don't know, he had some proof. You know, it's weird in sports when you got to be judge, jury, and executioner like Roger Goodell, or, you know, you're Lance Armstrong saying you're clean, you're clean, you're clean. Oh, wait. Or Mark McGuire and Rafael Palmeiro in front of Congress. "I did not take those performance-enhancing drugs."
Not here to talk about the past.
At this point, what does it matter? Sorry, now I'm just mixing 20 stories, and none of it makes any sense. But really, Roger Goodell just destroyed the New Orleans Saints this year. You know, and if I played football in high school, and I did hurt a few people, not intentionally necessarily. I did intentionally punch a guy in the stomach because he wouldn't stop holding my jersey, and then it stopped.
That's normal for a lineman, right?
Well, no.
But the offensive guards usually punch. No, something.
Well, look, this kid really wasn't playing the game right, and so I had to kind of put him in. Okay, I did it twice because these guys would not stop grabbing out. And there's a way to play the game, and they weren't playing it correctly. But you know, I never tried to take out somebody's knees. You know, I didn't try to concuss somebody. I tried to hit him as hard as I could, but I wasn't trying to destroy their ACL. You know, and what the Saints were trying to do and really trying to injure the other players, it's kind of ghoulish. And by the way, there are rumors now that Michael Vick might be coming to the Cleveland Browns. Could you imagine in the dog pound with Michael Vick? Michael Vick in the dog pound. I can't even imagine the headlines and the taglines.
What happened
of that.
to Danny Werfel?
Danny Werfel. Danny Werfel.
What's your guys? No,
I'm gonna go get some grits. I want to go
get. Is he the clone, the 28-year-old rookie?
Oh, I want to go get some grits at the Werfel house. Let's go to the Werfel house with that 49er. Talking about Southern
Brandon
cuisine.
Whedon, is that his name?
Yes,
yeah,
it's
Whedon.
Brandon Whedon. He's 28 years old. He's a 29-year-old rookie. But anyway, so, you know, I get what Roger Goodell was doing. If they were paying money for injuring players and they're getting late hits and they're just creaming people, I'm all for hard hits, not the dirty ones that the Steelers have done to the Browns over the past couple of years, especially that cheap shot on Colt McCoy and Mohamed Massaquoi, just teeing off on their skull. That's not cool, man. Hit them hard. Make them not want to go over the middle, but don't try to kill them. Don't break their knee. You know, I mean, like, so I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this story with how Roger Goodell handled it, but it seemed like he was very quick to jump to the conclusion he did, and I would have just liked to see a little bit more evidence and see some stuff come out. Any thoughts on this?
I didn't follow it that closely. I know that Greg Williams, I could see him getting suspended or what have you. I don't like the idea of having a program like that. It seems a little bit odd. I'm all in favor if they want to give bonuses to people that have good performances, or you get so many tackles or a sack or something like that. But to actually injure people, I don't know the full extent of it, but it sounded pretty gruesome. But I'm not necessarily siding with Goodell either. He's really proven ever since he's been there that he's really he's pretty brutal in his punishments. He doesn't screw around. So
well, hey, speaking of brutal and screwing around,
right
now, do you have a story?
There, go ahead. That's a great segue to something. But,
well, I think that goes back to the Menendez story, and then brutal would be the horse meat, I guess. So I don't know. You're gonna have to make your own clever segue for your story here.
I don't even know what story to do. We've got, it's been an interesting development here. I'm pulling this one up. There was some leaked, not leaked, I would say some hacking that went on, and supposedly somebody got some interesting evidence that was saying that there was a potential false flag attack that was going to be committed in Syria to be blamed on Assad, and the emails got out, and the press finally picked it up, at least the UK press, and they removed the story already. So that was interesting to see today. And this was a U.S.-backed plan to launch chemical weapon attack on Syria and blame it on the Assad's regime. So I've even heard like this is even bigger than Benghazi and all that stuff. So would they go to this level to try to get something in Syria to and as an excuse to invade Syria? Would they say get some chemical weapons and hurt some people and say, oh, it's Assad, now we have to go in there and defeat their forces? But it had, Qatar was involved, or Qatar, or whatever they want to call that country now.
You know what? They should get guitar involved.
That would be cool.
Maybe if you could just rock a little bit. Maybe that's all they're missing over there. Maybe they need to get guitar involved, not Qatar. Qatar Hero. What would that be like? What would that video game be? What in the world would you do as Qatar Hero? Anyway, no, I don't think we should go into this territory. We're just gonna.
I don't think it would be that fun.
We're gonna make some bad jokes, wouldn't we? Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. That was bad.
Of course, Qatar. We've also got the Al-Gore thing with that, Al-Jazeera.
Let's hold off on that because you were talking about that they hacked in and found some of this information. I just wanted to tell everybody this is a story from boingboing.net, but bear with me. Now is a good time to reset your Twitter password and disable Java in your browser. Twitter today disclosed that it too had been compromised by hackers. This attack was not the work of amateurs, and we do not believe it was an isolated incident, said Twitter's Director of Information Security, Bob Lord, in a blog post. We're guessing from China. Looks like a well-known Java vulnerability is one common link. So it says here, as you may have read... No, I don't need to do that voice. No, I want to do that voice. As you may have read, there's been a recent uptick in large-scale security attacks aimed at U.S. technology and media companies. Within the last 2 weeks, the New York Times and Wall Street Journal have chronicled breaches of their systems, and Apple and Mozilla have turned off Java by default in their browsers. This week, we detected unusual access patterns that led us to identifying unauthorized access attempts to Twitter user data. We discovered one live attack and were able to shut it down in process moments later. However, our investigation has thus far indicated that the attackers may have had access to limited user information, usernames, email addresses, session tokens, and encrypted salted versions of passwords for approximately 250,000 users. So, yeah, you may want to... This is my little moment of the day. So sometimes I like to take a story and give you something to consider. For example, a couple of days ago, I was with Blake on his Eccentric Perspective radio program. By the way, if you're just tuning in, you can check him out. He is on freedomizerradio.com Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific, and you can also get his podcast on iTunes by searching Eccentric Perspective. But we were talking about that Brazil nightclub fire where hundreds of people were killed, and I said that's a good time to what piece of information could people take from this story to make it relevant? You know, hundreds of people dying, it's relevant, but it's not relevant to you. Just consider when you go into a big arena, when you go into a nightclub, when you go into places, take a second when you get there and just glance around. Where are the exits? Because they said that they found piles of bodies that it got smoky and dark and people didn't know where they were at, and they were running into the bathroom thinking it was an exit. And they found piles of dead bodies in both the bathrooms. And at that point I said, well, just be aware of your surroundings. Don't walk with your head down. Walk with your head up. Look around when you're in unfamiliar places. When you go into places with large gatherings, figure out where the exits are. Just take a look. You don't need to freak out about it. Just kind of know how to get out in case you have to. With this story, what I'm going to recommend, we need to name this segment something. This is Brian's pontification.
Right.
You know what? I think that's the working title.
Brian's paranoid pontifications.
Ooh, the paranoid pontification. Ooh,
Right.
That's actually pretty apt. But what I'll say on this is, well, come on. If you go to thenewamericanmedia.com, you're going to see our 1984 watch. You know, because we don't want to head in toward that miserable dystopian society. But here's the point we're making in Brian's paranoid pontification of the day. It might be a good idea to have different passwords for your different accounts, because if one of those accounts are compromised, so is your bank account, so is your gas bill, so is your
fantasy football teams.
Your fantasy freaking football teams.
Somebody could get in there and change your lineup.
I am not starting Brandon. Okay, I started Brandon Whedon 1 week this week. 1 week this year. I did start Brandon Whedon for 1 week. He was thrown for 300-something yards, 2 or 3 touchdowns. I'm like, you know what? I think there's a good matchup next week. Matt Stafford had come off
Second coming of Danny Werfel. No,
stop it. My quarterback, Matt Stafford of the Lions, had come off a really bad game, and Brandon Whedon was getting hot. And I said, yeah, whatever. I'll roll the yeah, bad decision. But I won my league, so everything worked out well. But here's my point. You may want to make sure that all of your passwords are not the same thing, because when you're linked up with email, it's easy to go on to your Facebook page and log in. And there's all sorts of weird, goofy things that they can do with technology right now, so you just don't want to be compromised. That has been Brian's paranoid pontification of the day. So, anyway, you were talking about hackers in Qatar. I'm talking about hackers here. Make sure you're changing your passwords and just being careful with stuff, running your security device systems. And let's go back to Qatar. Let's go over to Al-Jazeera. Let's go to Al-Gore-Jazeera.
Oh, yes. Al Gore has been absolutely getting destroyed, and he's got his new book out, and he's making his rounds. And, yeah, everyone is seeming to be very critical of him, even including his collaborators in the liberal media, who were all, singing his praises not too long ago, are now questioning, what are you doing? Why are you're this big environmentalist, activist, and you're selling your company to the oil companies and to another a propaganda network. So what's the story there, Al? And he is a fantastic liar. He is an especially gifted con man. He really is. So, but he's really being exposed, and it looks like his things are unraveling. I mean, even MSNBC was giving him a hard time. Of course, The Daily Show, David Letterman, they all put him on the hot seat, questioning his motives, and he really looked like a big jerk. He really. So I don't know what else you want to say on that one, Brian. If I have any quotes in front of me. It's been entertaining. It's been funny to watch. I was thinking about if I could get a transcript from the Daily Show, so I could go over the amazing lies that come out of his mouth when he's questioned on these things, and how he's trying to justify his sale, and how Al-Jazeera is a great network and they do a lot of environmental coverage, so it's somehow okay. So, but he basically, you might as well have just sold his network to Fox and the Koch brothers. I mean, that was how ridiculous this whole thing was, and now he's acting like it was a good idea, and he doesn't suck. And there's no regrets.
Well, what do we expect out of Al Gore at this point? The dude made $100 million. By the way, he did not want to pay his fair share when he sold it. He was really trying to push the deal so he wouldn't have to pay higher income tax rates on that sale.
Yeah, $100 million wasn't enough.
He's simply not paying his fair share. Isn't that the truth? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, he's got several houses and flies around in big private jets and, lectures everybody else on how they're supposed to live and cut their energy bill down. And then he's out trading. He's out selling his company to the oil companies. So it was really to big oil. It was really poetic and hilarious all at the same time.
Well, here, let's take a listen to this for a second here. Matt Lauer grilling Al Gore over the hypocrisy of selling current TV to oil-funded...
Former Vice President Al Gore is the author of the new book, The Future, 6 Drivers of Global Change.
The Future, 6 Drivers of... Blake, I want to go there. Will you take me there someday?
Me, you, and Al Gore, we can all go together. That'd be awesome. Sounds like a good time. I'm in.
Is that one of those nightclubs in Vegas? Is that at the top of the stratosphere? Wait, no. Is that the Palms? The Future? Which one is that?
That's the, was that the Ghost Bar, I think? And then they got the Voodoo Lounge over at the Rio. Yeah, I like your idea. All right.
Vice President Gore, it's good to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you, Matt.
You're going to sit down in a lot of chairs like this over the next couple of days to promote this book. Is this something you relish or dread?
Oh, I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah?
I feel passionately about the message contained
we can talk over
in
him,
this
Walley.
book. I've always been fascinated about looking at the future, trying to see over the horizon. I've done that with climate. I do that with a bunch of other big challenges we're facing
Do you miss politics? Do you miss the chance to weigh in on some
we
of the
have the
other
whole
issues that are being
interview
debated
here. I
in
just want to get to the
Washington
good
right now?
part.
You said this recently. I'm a recovering politician, and the chances of relapse have been diminishing for long enough to increase my confidence that I will not succumb to that temptation again. You don't miss being in there and driving these debates?
While we're waiting to get to the good part here, I mean, Al Gore thought he was president. In half the country, a lot of people call him Mr. President. And this, I don't know, Blake, could you imagine what it would have been like in Al Gore presidency? Because we were almost there.
It's hard to say. I mean, to be fair, Bush and Cheney were horrible by every measurable. So it's when you're comparing it to that, it's hard to say that it could have been that much worse. But it's very clear that this guy is no good, and he is a very dangerous liar.
Well, here, check this out.
One of the themes of this book, Matt, is that our democracy has been hacked. That's a computer term, of course.
Oh, my God. Really?
So smart.
Oh, from the guy that invented the Internet. Remember Al Gore invented the Internet? Do you remember that? When he's...
Yeah, it was awesome.
Al Gore invented the Internet. Oh, what a great segue. Because we were talking about hacking and then hacking.
From Washington.
And now we have a political
some things
hack.
I miss about it, yes. I continue to speak out on issues.
That's a computer
but
term.
One of the themes of this book, Matt, is that our democracy has been hacked. That's a computer term, of course, that implies control of the way our political system works has been taken over. In this case, by big money, corporations designated as persons and not.
Big money corporations like Al-Jazeera, persons,
anonymous donors, and big money is having
big oil money, perhaps.
A corrupting influence, and it is degrading the quality of our democracy.
And as a result, a lot of things that need to get accomplished simply aren't getting accomplished. When President Obama in his second inaugural address
come on. When do you get to the good stuff,
to
buddy?
work on climate change,
to take into account. First of all, though, let me say what he said in his inaugural address.
I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing through this, Blake. I don't have time.
Why did it become just an investment at the end?
Well, flooding. These storms, it's like a...
Designed to soothe and reassure the audience that everything is targeting climate change. Isn't there a
There we go. Jeez, they stuck it at the end. Okay, here's the good part. Here's the meat of this story. This is where you can find all of the horse meat, Blake.
But if they get funding from a country that bases its wealth on fossil fuels, and fossil fuels are the enemy you target in climate change, isn't there a bit of hypocrisy in that?
Now, they're talking, of course, about current TV, Al Gore's thing that he started being sold for $100 million to Al-Jazeera. Al-Jazeera, weren't they the terrorist network television propaganda site in the beginning of the Gulf War thing? But they've turned into a respectable news gathering organization. So is there hypocrisy in selling to them?
After $100 billion, I'd probably say this. If they gave me $100 million, I might say lots of good things about them, too.
And they get their money from oil. So this is a great part here. Let's just hit reset.
Has obviously long since established itself as...
Oh, that's a great part, too.
I'm sorry. To soothe and reassure the audience that everything...
Let me just say for the audience, I'm sorry. I don't have these all necessarily queued up, and this is a 6-minute clip, but this is the good part that I have seen before. I just had to skim through this other stuff to get to it.
The global environment is not threatened, and the critics jumped. And they said, here's the guy who just sold current TV to Al Jazeera, which gets an undetermined amount of funding from the country of Qatar, which gets its money from oil reserves. Isn't there a contradiction in that?
I certainly understand that criticism. I disagree with it because I think Al Jazeera has obviously long since established itself as a really distinguished and effective news gathering organization. And by the way, its climate coverage has been far more extensive and of high quality than any of the...
Now, I'll have to say, its terrorist coverage, trying to kill our troops, well, that's been a little lackluster. Not too thrilled with what they did in the early 2000s.
Funding from a country that bases its wealth on fossil fuels, and fossil fuels are the enemy you target in climate change. Isn't there a bit of hypocrisy in that?
Well, I get the criticism. I just disagree with it.
I love it. You know, I am going to have to do that. I'm going to have to talk with my clients or my boss or in relationships. You know, I get the criticism. I'm just going to have to disagree with it. Peter, I'm going to need you to come into work on Saturday. Yeah. Right. I mean, what a goofy line, Blake.
No, I love it. And it sounds like, it sounds just like he was on The Daily Show, pretty much saying the exact same thing.
Yeah, because he really doesn't have
Letterman,
Well, let's wrap this one up here and move past
this network has established itself.
Al Jazeera.
It's objective. It's won major awards in countries around the world.
When you hear him say that, do you think of A Christmas Story? It's a major award. Why? It's a major... It's a lamp shaped like a lady's leg. Why? It's a major award. Do you remember that line from Christmas Story?
Right. No. From what?
From A Christmas Story. It's a major award.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, I've only seen it 1,000 times.
And its climate coverage, as I said a moment ago, has been outstanding and extensive.
Let me just end with another head.
No, I'm going to end here because I've had about enough of it. Any final thoughts on Al Gore?
No, I find him absolutely fascinating. He is such a gifted liar. I've never seen anything like it.
Fantastic. Hey, gifted liar. Not affordable. IRS estimates the cheapest Obamacare plan will cost $20,000. Did you see this one, Blake?
Sounds perfectly reasonable to me.
But that I don't want to even pretend that they may have been lying about Obamacare from the beginning to make it sound good, but it's kind of like a poison pill wrapped in hamburger meat fed to the dog to kind of get rid of the dog. Sorry, I'm thinking about Michael Vick again. But yeah, so people have claimed, and the whole time this Obamacare thing was going on, that this was simply a Trojan horse, looking one way, sounding one way, but it was a Trojan horse to... By the way, Trojan horse is sometimes a computer term. Ha, 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 says Al Gore. What a... Jeez, I invented the internet, Al Gore. But they said it was a Trojan horse to destroy the private healthcare system and implement a single-payer system. But this is a story out of Breitbart.com. The IRS estimates that the cheapest Obamacare plan for an average family of 5 will cost $20,000. Is an average family 5, though? Anyway, in its Obamacare regulations the agency released on Wednesday, the IRS laid out the rules in determining how much of a tax penalty Americans who do not buy health insurance under the law will pay. The annual national average bronze plan Premium for a family of 5, 2 adults and 3 children, is $20,000. Under the Obamacare law, there will be platinum, gold, silver, and bronze Obamacare plans, with bronze being the cheapest. Hey, Blake, what were they going to make that $1 trillion coin out of?
Platinum.
Platinum? It wasn't going to be unobtainium? Or
that'd be cool.
Or kryptonite or something?
Yeah, you would think it'd be like the rarest substance on the earth, and we've only got a little bit of it. So this is why it's so important.
Yeah, they'd say that this $1 trillion coin is kind of like a gel capsule filled with dinosaur blood, or it's this is the blood of Christ, the sangre de Christos. Yeah, I don't know about that. Americans who do not have health insurance and do not qualify for a government program will be subject to a tax penalty under Obamacare. So $20,000 for the National Bronze Plan, which would be the cheapest plan available. The shared responsibility payment. Oh my gosh, I feel like
I think it's like they're ordering like Dish Network or something. We got the bronze plan or the silver, the gold. Yeah, there you go.
I feel like I'm getting the Lennon Network with the shared responsibility payment plan. Lesser tax penalty of $2,400 a month or $20,000 a year for the cheapest thing out there. Are you kidding me? Blake, thoughts on Obamacare? Anything? Any thoughts?
It's going to destroy the middle class, and it's going to be a nightmare like you have no idea. And it's only beginning to start to come out now, and it's going to be the biggest regret we're ever going to have.
Well,
if it continues, I don't know. I think our system's a little bit too bankrupt for this thing to actually go on. And if the cheapest thing is going to run $20,000 a family, then we're in a lot of trouble.
Yep. Well, how about we take another story or two from you? I'm down to like a couple, and we're going to kind of start doing a little bit more rapid firing of these since we've cherry-picked some of our favorites. But let's play a little bit of ping pong, a little more rapid fire here. Let's get through a few of the ones you have.
Got some news for future from the Department of Homeland Security. If there's any new attacks, if you're ever if you ever catch yourself as a potential victim in another mass shooting, they've put out an instructional video on how to deal with that, and it's basically to run, to hide, or to if you can find a scissors at your disposal to attack the gunman with the scissors. So it's called active shooter drill. Let's see here. The Department of Homeland Security is providing tips on how to survive an active shooter crisis. So one crucial item you will need: scissors. So an instructional short film titled "Options for Consideration Active Shooter Training Video." Various methods are prescribed for decreasing a prospective mass murder's body count should one find themselves in the extremely unlikely scenario of an active shooter situation. So, yes, it was pretty laughable and weird, this video. And, yes, one of the options is to, use overpowering the shooter with whatever means are available. And in the video, they show a pair of somebody's hand reaching into a drawer to grab a pair of scissors. Right.
Cut it out, Mr. Burglar. Cut it out.
That's a good one, right? Yeah, nothing about, hey, check with your, maybe consider getting a firearm and a concealed carry permit and, being part of the solution. No. It's about calling the cops, running, hiding, and perhaps fighting back with scissors or whatever little weapons that you can find around an office building. Probably limited options.
Ooh, maybe if they had scissors made of Legos. Like I have Legos. They're not really scissors, but they represent
Let's segue
scissors.
That, yes. Go ahead.
But well, you have the story in front of you. I don't have that one in front of me with all of these things. But I was going to ask. I was going to ask if your DHS video involved crisis actors.
Not this one. No, there's definitely actors. And yes, we still haven't gotten to that one. I'm still trying to figure out why exactly we had crisis shooters at Sandy Hook. But
crisis actors, not crisis shooters.
Crisis actors, right?
Okay.
Yes, but the press has been mum.
Nice, nicely done.
Right.
We'll talk about the Legos then, because this is I just find this to be so Ridiculous.
All right, you want me to get into that?
Yeah, I sure do.
Well, there's been several children shaken down around the nation, and one of them was with after building a Lego gun, and it was interesting. Even more interesting, the thing didn't even look like a gun in any way. It was just sort of had the rough shape of one, and it was in multicolored Legos, and but apparently that was enough to get him suspended for 2 weeks. A 5-year-old. So this is a 5-year-old boy who was threatened with suspension by school officials in Massachusetts after he built a small toy gun out of Lego bricks and started to play shoot his classmates. So I mean, it's hilarious just to see the school principal or whoever this is just freaking out and acting like it's a big serious deal. But there's been several incidents. So let's see here. The case is far from isolated, and as we've seen, hysteria is sweeping America's education system in the aftermath of Sandy Hook. So there was an incident erupted between a discussion with a toy Nerf gun and caused a lockdown and an armed police response in the Bronx. You had earlier in the month a Long Island high school placed on lockdown for 6 hours, again for a toy Nerf gun. We had a 5-year-old girl suspended after a 3-hour grilling and described as a terroristic threat for a pink bubble gun, the Hello Kitty thing. You had a kid in South Philly who had a paper gun. She threatened with arrest for that. He had a 6-year-old boy in Maryland for making a gun gesture with his hand and saying "pow." And let's see here. A day later, you had another 2 6-year-olds in Maryland, yes, pointing their fingers into gun shapes. They were suspended. It's just, I'm going over this like a Steve Watson article out of InfoWars. Oklahoma, 5-year-old boy making a gun gesture, suspended. 13-year-old suspended, hand gesture. You can't even make hand gestures with in gun shapes and pretend to shoot people in school anymore. Otherwise, you get suspended or worse. Or are they going to put that on your permanent record? Who knows?
Do you think that had Adam Sandler had the choice to do over again, do you think he would have changed Shooter McGavin's character? Do you think he would have rethought Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore? Oh, come on. You reference movies all the time. You talking
I know Happy Gilmore. I love Happy Gilmore.
Fine, how about...
is he the golfer? Was he the rival?
Yes,
he was the rival, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was the uber professional golfer that did not like Happy's unorthodox stance.
He was
what about this
work.
one?
He was the bad guy there, too.
What about this famous scene? What about if they were eating dinner and they're carving mashed potatoes that look like a gun? You remember that movie where they're carving the UFO in the mashed potatoes? Do you remember that, or the mountainside?
No, which one was that?
Oh Lord, Blake!
The movie? You don't even know the movie, and you're asking me if I don't know the movie.
Oh, Blake!
I don't know. Yes, I apologize for that. I remember the mashed potato scene in the Christmas Story you were just talking about earlier.
Yeah, but you didn't remember it's a major award. It's a major award. It's close.
Well, no, yeah, that was a little bit tougher. But yes, the fragile.
Fragile.
It must be Italian. All right, yes.
No,
right.
I'm talking about Close Encounters of the Third Kind with the mashed potatoes.
Oh, you know what? I never saw that.
What?
I never saw the old.
Right.
Back in 79, right? That was an old movie, right? Or early 80s?
1977. And no, I did not look it up.
Richard
yes, I did.
Dreyfuss, was
Richard
it?
Dreyfuss, yes. Steven
no,
Spielberg.
I never did see that.
Okay, put it on your to-do list. It's
put it on my Netflix queue list. All
yes, queue it up next to Office Space. What movies have we referenced? Office Space, Happy Gilmore, Christmas Story, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Did we reference anything else in this show?
I know we did, but I can't. I can't think of it.
We'll have to go back to the archive to figure it out.
Too many.
All right. Anyway, moving right along. I was just all of these things. Yeah, I'm making the sign of a gun with my finger. Suspended. Carving my mashed potatoes into a gun. Suspended. Lego. Suspended. Pink Hello Kitty bubble gun. Suspended. You said the word gun. Suspended. I don't know. It's almost a cartoon sketch at this
No,
point.
no, these are like 5-year-olds. That's what's so insane about it. I mean, like 5, 6-year-olds that are, that don't know any better, and they're literally being suspended and interrogated for hours without their parents present. And yes, calling it terroristic actions. That's how insane some of the school administrations are taking this, going a little too far with everything.
It's been a long show. What else do you have on here? What else do you have on your list? Let's buzz through them, because I think we got to the we earlier got into the MSNBC thing, right? We didn't go over top of that.
Yeah, we did.
We definitely elaborated.
On
Don't get your news from there, of course. What about the AR-15? You got that one?
I just saw that.
Because we're talking guns, and Department of Homeland Security they're telling us not to get these things, but they're doing what, Blake? This seems a little odd.
Yes, they're assault weapons. You're not supposed to own them, blah, blah, blah. It's the big controversy, this war on assault weapons that kill, 300-some people every year. And they're freaking out like this is the end of the world, and it's going to, all these potential school shootings because you can rack up so many bodies with the body counts with these things. But the Department of Homeland Security recently bought 7,000 of them, but they're not assault weapons. They're only assault weapons if the serf civilians own them. If they're owned by your government officials, not servants, your government officials, your what would you call it? Your
oligarchy. Your
oligarchy.
Your elite ruling
class.
class.
They are now. They no longer are their assault rifles. They are then referred to as personal defense weapons.
Well, of course. That makes perfect sense to me, yo.
Yes, the royalty, nobility, aristocracy. It's the double standard.
Do you think
they are personal defense weapons?
Do you think that Michelle Obama refers to French fries, going back to the McDonald's or the Burger King story earlier? Do you think she refers to French fries and the Irish story from before, as you brought up in that little joke? Do you think I swear I'm gonna try to tell this joke. Do you think that Michelle Obama refers to Burger King French fries as salt weapons?
Oh, that was I could be. We'll have to ask.
I didn't say it was going to be a good joke.
Surprise.
I didn't say it was going to be a good joke, but I did promise a joke.
All right.
So,
all right, fair enough.
All right, so we got that going on, and the Department of Homeland Security wants to keep their personal defense weapons, but they don't want you to have your assault weapons. So just make sure you're following that, and make sure you don't get involved and don't look too hard in Fast and Furious or Benghazi or
there's 1.8 billion bullets they've purchased. Yeah, who cares about that? Department
Nothing
of
to see
Homeland
here.
Security and all the weapons and toys, they're gearing up for stuff. But nothing to worry about. We should just give up the assault rifles because they're not really practical for hunting anyway. And besides, you wouldn't really be able to fight off a government if they went bad because they got drones. So, whatever.
Yeah, because
clearly,
and you know what's important, everybody, remember. It doesn't say that you're allowed to use your assault rifles for hunting deer or sporting purposes in the Second Amendment. So just remember that. It doesn't say you can have assault weapons to hunt deer or for sporting purposes. Yeah, it doesn't say either of those things because it says shall not be infringed, which is the key component to that. It means don't tread on me. It says stay away. It says careful I bite. Leave me be. I will never bother you unless you bother me. That's really what the Second Amendment says. I will never bother you unless you bother me. And, of course, if people do bother others, they go to jail. That's fine. But it is key. It is clutch. It is the cornerstone of all that our country is that Second Amendment thing. It really just keeps everyone a little more honest than they might normally be, given the opportunity to run roughshod over a clueless and distracted and heavily debt-burdened, ADD-riddled, fluoride-consumed society that are just happy little worker bees. Do your thing, go to work, have your fun, watch TV, rinse and repeat,
Right.
go to sleep and wake up and go back and do it again and again and again. And that's okay for some people, but
Routine
once you
is
wake
good.
up, it's
Yeah.
hard to go back to sleep when you get up sometimes. It's hard for me. I just want to watch the Super Bowl. I want to cheer for the Niners to smack the Ravens. Sorry, Nemo from Baltimore, who calls your Eccentric Perspective show. By the way, if you haven't checked out Blake's show, it's called Eccentric Perspective. It's on freedomizerradio.com every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific, and you can search it on iTunes and sign up for the podcast. Okay, let's go a little bit more rapid fire. Pardon the AR-15 pun. Let's go a little bit more rapid fire here. What else you got on tap? I got a couple. I got like 3. How many do you have?
All right, you go.
Okay.
I've got a bunch, but I'm sure I can wind this down.
No. Why don't you go two or three, and then I'll do one. I got 3 left, so do 2 or 3, and then I'll do one. Give us the basics, just the skinny. Give me the straight skinny.
How about real quick? How about Federal Reserve money printing is the real reason why the stock market is soaring. So I know people are sort of like excited. Look how great the economy is because the Dow is up over 14,000. So, is that really a good reflection of how the overall health of the economy, or is it perhaps have something to do with the fact that we got 0% interest rates and the Federal Reserve is just nonstop printing money and we're just adding debt like you wouldn't believe, and I don't know. Of course, unemployment keeps rising. We've got a negative GDP for the quarter. That's another issue. Yeah, gold's going way up, dollars going down. So anyway, I don't know where you want to hit with that. With the any kind of the economic meltdown type of news there, Brian.
Well,
but it's on my radar.
Well, but that's a good thing that the Dow's up. That means the stock market's doing good. That means that that things are going well, right? It means that things are going well. That I just keep saying that things are going well. Hang on, let me see if this can play.
But there's already news being made this morning, and that's coming from an old squawk friend, Jamie Dimon, who.
I'm gonna set this up for you. This is J.P. Morgan's Jamie Dimon saying, well, I'll just let this speak for itself.
Was on a panel this morning talking about regulation, banking, and transparency, and he made some people upset this morning with this comment. Take a listen to it.
Businesses can be opaque. They're complex. You don't know how aircraft engines work either. We provide a service to you. We make a little bit of money every time we do it. That's what happens.
That actually had a lot of people frustrated, the fact that he was comparing the banking system to an engine on an airplane and that you don't need to know how it actually works. The big issue, of course, is do regulators understand how it works? He also made another comment trying to defend the banks, saying that they were actually a friend of the system and the economy. Take a listen to this one.
I think J.P. Morgan was not just a fair weather friend. We were there in good times and bad times for everybody, including nations. So for Spain and Italy, we would say lending.
Hey, we loan you a little money. You pay us a little money back. And if you get out of line, hey, your mother would really appreciate it if you paid us that money plus that interest.
$15 billion net of collateral, net of derivatives and short term. Spain and Italy. And yes, it's governments and it's basically multinationals if you want to be transparent. What would you do? What would you all do? If you were my board of directors, it's very easy to say, don't take the risk, move on out. We've been in Spain and Italy, one for 60 years and one for over 100. We're not a fair weather friend. Spain and Italy and the companies there and stuff want us to be there.
Hey, we got them where we want them, eh? You know what I'm saying? We got them where you want them. So it's just too complex to understand, Blake. I was asking why the Dow being at 1,400 is relevant, and Jamie Dimon just said, hey, it's just too complex, You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing a good accent here,
trying to, yeah, exactly. It's like trying to explain how to work on a airplane engine or something. It's too complicated, right? So why should we even bother talking about it?
You just sit back. We'll get you. You know what? We'll get your first drink on the house, but that second one's gonna cost ya. You just sit back in your chair. We'll give you a hot compressed toilet that can go over your eyes, and just go to sleep. We'll drive. We got this. Nah, I don't like it. I don't like not knowing. Am I wacky, or are they?
That's a good question, Brian. I mean,
you don't need to wait so long.
Out of our league, so
you don't need to wait so long to answer that.
We don't understand it. Yeah, perhaps we just don't get it, and they do, and we just have to take their word for it. And
okay, so
I'm sure they'll turn this around.
So in like 2 or 3 sentences, explain why the Dow, it's complete garbage, and why it's going up right now according to this article. Just sum it up. Basically, it's just because they're printing money, right?
It's the value of the dollar is going down. We're printing out a lot more. It's inflation. All kinds of added debt. I mean, I think the Dow, like back in the early 80s, was like around 500 or something like that. I forget. They've added more to the Dow, but the fact of the matter remains, yes, you got to factor in a lot of things like inflation and stuff like that into the equation to really get the full scope of it. I don't think people really see the economic recovery. We had a negative GDP last quarter. That gives you another indicator. $1 trillion plus deficits, $6 trillion added to the debt in the last 4 years alone. So, yeah, that number is pretty much cooked. And, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Jamie Dimon is the one that's right, and it's just too complicated, too much out of my league, and we should just let those experts do what they do.
Okay, good
Everything
point.
will turn around.
Perfect. Well, turn it
Everyone
around.
just put your head back in the sand and listen to Jamie Dimon.
All right, we'll turn it around. Give us another story. What else? What else is on tap?
All right, what else is on
What
tap?
else do we need to know wrapping up this week? What else do we need to know?
Do we have to know? That's a good question. There's the president of Iceland is saying, maybe disagreeing. They've actually got a real economic turnaround, and that's because they didn't agree with the same philosophy of, banks being too big to fail. They just let them fail, said, you know what, we don't owe this debt, wrote it off, and they took guys like Jamie Dimon and threw them behind bars. So, I don't know. It might be a different, maybe perhaps a better solution to the problems. I'm not really sure. I don't know. But interesting to note. What else do we have? I don't know. I think that's pretty close to everything. There might be one more, if I can find it. Brian, do you have anything?
Sure. While you find it, Clinton blasts Benghazi critics, saying you don't live in an evidence-based world. I love that, because didn't that filmmaker, isn't he in jail in evidence-based First Amendment? No, they arrested him something completely unrelated. Yeah. Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton is leaving office with a slap at critics of the Obama administration's handling of the September 11th attack, lousy writer, it's important, on a U.S. diplomatic mission in Libya. She told the Associated Press that critics of the administration's handling of the attack don't live in an evidence-based world, and the refusal to accept the facts, because the science is settled, it is unfortunate and regrettable for the political system. In her last one-on-one interview before she steps down Friday, Clinton told the AP that the attack in Benghazi was the low point of her time as America's top diplomat. Nuh-uh. Really, that was your low point? I thought they were just bumps in the road, said President Barack Obama.
Yeah.
But she suggested that the furor over the assault would not affect whether she plans to run for president in 2016. Although she insisted that she has not decided what her future holds, she said she absolutely still has plans to make a difference on issues. Blah, 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 blah. Yep, you don't live in an evidence-based world if you question, why were there 7 hours of hell? Why were they calling for help? Why was it denied? Why did they ask for help weeks and weeks and days and months, begging for assistance, and they actually decreased the staff there? Why did some of the Navy SEALs disobey orders to stand down and go over there? Why, when they got up on top and they were firing some mortars over there, when they pinpointed the opposition with laser targets and there were drones in the sky and they called in an attack, why did the drones not attack where they pinpointed the source of where the mortars were coming from? There are a few unanswered questions. Why did the President of the United States and Hillary Clinton, why did they blame YouTube for a disgusting and vile video that the U.S. had absolutely nothing to do with? Who's the first person that ever talked about that cover story? Where did it come from? Where's the first memo saying you got to blame a YouTube video? Then why did you arrest the guy who does have freedom of speech? Okay, yes, he wrote bad checks and he can't go by other names. You know what? The message it's sending when you arrest somebody for free speech, that's not a good message. Okay, I'm not defending this guy that made the movie, and it was, from what I've seen, it was a stupid movie, I don't know, whatever. But it was completely fabricated. So why did you blame the First Amendment and then arrest the guy and then change your story. What in the hell happened in Benghazi? I still don't know what happened in Benghazi. It's only been, September, October, November, December, January, February, coming up on 5 months, and I still don't know what happened in Benghazi. Blake, am I not living in an evidence-based world? Have these issues? Should I accept the facts, quote unquote? Should I accept the facts? Because I still don't know what the facts are.
Well, you know what? Let me leave you with this, Brian. Speaking of that, I'll give you a quote from Barack Obama, actually, about this week in this very same subject, who was having an interview with Steve Kroft. I believe this was 60 Minutes. And so Obama tells the story, and he says, I remember Bob Gates. The first thing he said to me, I think maybe first week or two that I was there and we were meeting in the Oval Office, and he's obviously, been through 7 presidents or something. And he says, Mr. President, one thing I can guarantee you is that at this moment, somewhere, somehow, somebody in the federal government is screwing up. You know what, Brian? You know what? People just screw up sometimes, and someone's always screwing up in the federal government. So it's time to bury this story and move on to something else, Brian. There's more important things going on.
Okay, well, let's do that.
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah, I got 2 more stories because that's all that's going on left for me, and we'll get out of here. Woman arrested while refusing smart meter installation on her property. So
I didn't get into that too much. I know it's a big deal. I'm going to have to do some homework and get to the bottom of that. It's an issue, and it's pretty sickening. That was in Illinois, I believe. And yes, those things are actually they have people that have major health effects from those things. And I think she was trying, from what I remember of the story, I didn't really get into it, but I think her son was suffering from some health effects, and she wanted to get rid of it, and then somehow or another, she ended up getting arrested trying to fight it.
Well, this is one little part here that I find interesting. One of 2 women arrested while the smart meters were being installed on their property without permission on Wednesday. This woman, Kim, was the second who received 2 misdemeanors for attempted eavesdropping and resisting a police officer. Attempted eavesdropping. I tried to listen. Attempted eavesdropping. Well,
can you do that on your own property? Is that
here's what's going on. Is your the meters belong to the electric company. So you have to allow access to it, which is why I'm all about being off the grid. Not because I'm crazy, it's just because, come on, if you can, why don't you? If there's sun in the sky, find a way. But people, there's been a lot of controversy over, let me just read this. The controversy over smart meters has been seen in cities around the nation. Some have concern about the type of data that smart meters will allow to be collected because these new, where did that story go? The one where the new Samsung televisions have an app where it can get hacked and they can access the cameras and the microphones. They can listen to you and watch you. By the way, your cell phones can be remotely accessed in case they're hacked or in case somebody with the proper protocol and privileges at the company or somebody at Department of Homeland Security, the Pentagon, the White House, CIA, FBI, MI6, go down the whole list of things. If they want to access it, they can get into your cell phone. And if you have a little front-facing camera, it's watching you. It could be, at least. It could be watching you, and it could be recording you. And you can't even turn your phone off and not be GPS tracked. I read a Trayvon Martin story where his cell phone information, they've got into it, and it's being speculated that they can track his physical GPS coordinates of where he was walking and what he was doing on the night that the event took place down in Florida where George Zimmerman shot Trayvon Martin. And the only way to stop cell phones from collecting this data is to actually take the battery out of them. Well, that sounds crazy, except it's true. And what these smart meters are saying is all of the new electronics, if it's a flex alert and you don't turn off your TV or your coffee machine or your computer, you know what? We have a smart meter. We'll turn it off for you. We'll take care of all of your problems because we don't want greenhouse gas emissions ruining it for everybody else. So there are many concerns about the type of data that smart meters can collect and how that data is going to be used. And then other people are worrying. So that's the 1984 watch type thing that we have at thenewamericanmedia.com. Just what information is being collected. What can they do with your services? Can they remotely shut your stuff off? Maybe if you're a political dissenter and one day they want to stage a coup and shut down all the power and electricity and communications capabilities of people that, I don't know, just don't toe the party line. Yeah, I think your particular address could be targeted and all your juice could go one day and you'd be pretty vulnerable. Say it's nighttime and you can't turn on the lights. But I'm digressing, Blake. None of that stuff could ever happen.
No.
But there are other health risks. This is TNAM Health. Others worry about the health risks associated with the transmitter in the smart meter, including headaches, insomnia, tinnitus, and DNA breakdown. And there have been studies that have been done, and people are concerned about this. So, who's in charge here? Does the electric company get to do this, or do people get to opt out of this new potentially creepy, unhealthy technology? What's the answer? I don't know, Blake, but it's an interesting story, and it's an issue. I don't want smart meters over here, so I'm going to be very interested.
I've already got one. All right.
Oh, do you, Blake?
I know. Dude, I know. I didn't really even know much about it at the time, and I remember they basically just knocked on my door, and then they're like, "Okay, we're going to be we just put on a smart meter, and we're going to have to shut off your power, and we'll have everything back on in 5 minutes." And I was like, "Okay," and that was about it. So. It was that's all it went, and I guess I can look back and say I should have done something, but it's too late.
Blake,
so.
Blake, I wouldn't have wanted you to potentially attempt to eavesdrop on them.
Right, I know. Right?
That would have been horrible.
Yeah, on my own property, too.
I'm attempting to eavesdrop on these people that are on my property.
And just they already put it in. They didn't even tell me about it. They weren't like, hey, we're going to put up a smart meter, and sell me on it. No, it's just like, okay, we're already in it. Now we got to reboot your system and restart the power to get it to work. It's like, okay, there you go.
Well,
but
I have one more story, and then I'm wrapping it up. This is from BizPackReview.com. House demands a Department of Justice briefing on the prosecution of Aaron Swartz. This is a story I will admit to not being completely savvy toward.
Super informed about it? Okay.
Yeah, what was the old-timey word you kept using? Not moot. What was it?
Mum.
Mum. Yeah, some people are mum on this issue. Meh. So U.S. House officials have called for a Justice Department briefing on the computer fraud prosecution of Reddit co-founder and RSS developer Aaron Swartz. The 26-year-old internet activist, who was a fierce opponent of the Stop Online Piracy Act, or SOPA, was found dead in early January from an apparent suicide. Wait, what happened to Andrew Breitbart? I'm getting off track.
Totally different. Totally
different.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. Didn't that happen on the first day of the National Defense Authorization Act? Anyway,
no,
I'm getting completely off.
That was May Day, or March 1st, I believe.
Getting completely off track
Ides
here.
of March. Go ahead.
So the 26-year-old internet activist, Aaron Swartz, who was a fierce opponent of SOPA, was found dead in early January from an apparent suicide his family called, quote, the product of a criminal justice system rife with intimidation and prosecutorial overreach. That sounds like the 49ers player wrote it, didn't it? That 49ers player?
Right, sure.
This was the product of a criminal justice system rife with intimidation and prosecutorial overreach, says the 49er player. I'm just kidding. Schwartz was charged in 2011 with computer fraud, accused of illegally downloading and distributing subscription-based academic articles from the Massachusetts MIT that he felt should be free and open to the public. Okay. And then he's dead.
Right.
And, okay. So you got Anonymous kind of taking over the agency responsible for sentencing the guidelines on Saturday, threatening to release private U.S. Justice Department data to avenge Schwartz's death. This, that, and the other. Let's see. Stealing is stealing, whether you use a computer command or a crowbar, and whether you take documents, data, or dollars, says this Ortiz. Anyway, but let's see. Many questions have been raised about the appropriate level of punishment sought by prosecutors for Mr. Schwartz's alleged offenses, said Daryl Issa and Cummings. What's his name? Elijah Cummings, saying that they also want to know whether Schwartz's opposition to the SOPA Act, SOPA, was among the factors considered. So was he targeted because he was a political adversary? Was he a thorn in the side of officials with the prosecutorial overreach capabilities to do this and try to ruin somebody's life and facing so much time in prison over maybe something not quite as significant.
It is the possibility that they were trying to make an example out of him, absolutely, by using the full power of the state within their rules, yes. So I guess the prosecutor can say that, yes, she, according to her, did the right thing. But I think a lot of people are going, yeah, including his father, who said that the government basically killed him, not literally, but just basically in the punishment, because who wants to go to, a federal, well, I don't want to say what, I can use the same
pound them into submission. Pound them into submission type of place.
Right.
See, that's how you clean it up. Yeah.
Pound me into submission, federal prison.
Yeah.
All right,
that thing.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
That's so gross.
So, if, and I guess in those circumstances, it's hard to blame the guy who would want to spend 30 years there. But but what Breitbart was looked like more of an assassination. But still bad news. Aaron Swartz didn't deserve that, and they need. It's time to start going after the prosecutor for doing that. Maybe she didn't write the law or whatever, but certainly that's no excuse. The punishment didn't fit the crime. So,
well, it's a story that a lot of our followers on Twitter. By the way, if you're not following us, it's at American_media_. A lot of people keep talking about this. A lot of people keep talking about Aaron Swartz, and we're taking a look around. So we'll keep following it. We'll keep following Benghazi. We'll keep following smart meters. We'll keep following GMO foods. We'll keep following,
horse meat,
the Federal Reserve, and horse meat. We will not stop until shovels are banned, folks. This is our new thing. We need to put some guitars over in the Middle East. We need Qatar Hero. So we're going to keep doing the
Video Game of the Year 2014.
Actually, did you see that
Qatar Hero?
Did you see that commercial for Coca-Cola that some people are outraged over the racial insensitivities? There's a desert oasis and there's a guy on a camel and he's trying to go for the
I've heard
Coca-Cola.
some weird things. There's a Volkswagen commercial, too. I think there was another commercial. They were all kind of scrutinized, and they were all kind of weird in their own way. I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl for the commercials, of course. I always like to see. So I want to. Yeah, I'm curious to see this. But no, I don't know anything specifically about the Coca-Cola commercial.
Do you think that they might advertise deer antler spray at the Super Bowl?
See why not? Well, I don't actually know if Swats has the that kind of money to. I don't even. How much does the commercial cost now these days? A 30-second ad.
Oh, I think it's $3 million. $3 million. Wait, I'll tell
that's
you
exactly. That's a lot of deer antler spray they got to sell for that. I don't know.
Well, the cost of a Super Bowl ad. $4 million. Wait, 3.5. Wow. Okay, between 3.5 and 4 million. I'm getting a few different numbers here, but
all right.
Yeah, that's a lot, buddy. That is significant.
Do you think they have enough deer antler spray to sell to recoup the amount of money that they would have to spend? I don't know.
I don't know either, but I certainly hope the 49ers wax the Ravens. I'm definitely pulling for the Niners. Being out here in Cali on the West Coast, and the Baltimore Ravens stole my Cleveland Browns, and I'm not over it. And I certainly hope that tomorrow they do not vote Art Modell. There was a caller talking about LeBron James on the Jim Rome program one time. He called LeBron James a Judas traitor trench coat. And it was so stupid, and they keep replaying it, a Judas traitor trench coat. So I hope Art Modell does not get rewarded for just destroying us Cleveland Browns fans. So, I look at the Baltimore Ravens as the one team I'm never allowed to root for in my entire life. Like, if the Ravens lined up against, who would it be? Like Assad. If the Ravens were the special forces that had to go take down Assad or Kim Jong-un, or they had to go get Gaddafi, or they're in the spider holes trying to get Saddam Hussein, or I don't know, they're going after the Sandy Hook shooter or something. Okay, all right. I mean, okay, all right. Let me back up. If the Baltimore Ravens were the only people that could have stopped the massacre at Sandy Hook, I think I would have rooted for the Ravens.
That's really sweet of you, Brian.
Oh man, I'm just thinking this through here live. I haven't thought this through, and I gotta be. No,
It means more to you than 20 dead children. All right, that's
I
sweet.
would have
All right.
definitely been rooting for the Baltimore Ravens to stop the bad guy in that one situation. That is the one situation. I'm just thinking this through. Okay, I would have definitely rooted for Ray Lewis to take out the shooter at Sandy Hook. I would have definitely cheered Ray Lewis for that. I think that's the only situation.
The shooter. Who is it? Is it Adam Lanza, or is it somebody, or is it some sort of who knows what else is involved there? We're still digging up evidence on that story as well.
Okay, so that's
sort of in the video surveillance. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
So that's the one situation where I would have rooted for the special teams of the Baltimore Ravens, the special forces of them, to do anything successfully. I would have hoped to see them prevent a massacre.
Just that much of a grudge. That's pretty. It's amazing, Brian. I don't know.
Try growing up in Cleveland and getting close but no cigar in every major sport, and dealing with the weather.
I can't really relate. I was never really a big hockey fan because,
what's hockey?
Of course, the Minnesota North Stars were moved to Dallas. And they went on to have some championships there, Mike Modano and all that.
I love the North Stars down in the southern United States.
They changed it to the Stars. Yeah,
I like the Minneapolis. I like the Minneapolis Lakers going to Los Angeles. I love the Jazz leaving New Orleans, where they don't allow music. It's
basketball. All right.
Yes. See, now what other movie did we
reference?
Another
movie reference. All
Absolutely. All right. Well, Blake, I think we've covered just about all the important stuff on my side. You got one final nugget of awesomeness?
That's it.
All right,
I'm
cool.
Done.
Rock on.
Well,
thank you for joining us. Tell everybody where they can find you and stay connected.
EccentricPerspective.com, FreedomizerRadio.com, Twitter, Eccentric99. And that should be good enough for now.
Well, I'll tell you, one of these days, Blake, when we say, hey, let's do a quick show, we might actually do a quick show one of these years, but they always turn out to be marathons, extravaganzas,
Yeah.
And, sometimes I'm all right with that because I can't stay connected on all these stories throughout the week. We got some great Twitter followers, and it's fantastic, but really just thanks again for joining us on this top news story extravaganza, bonanza, buffet, I don't know, whatever.
Yes, thank you, Brian.
We need to do this, but here's our homework for the next time. We need to get some extra adjectives so we can extend it by like 30 or 40 different words, kind of really pumping up how awesome this is.
Right. Yes,
all right, so
exactly.
So that's our homework, and go 49ers. Have a good weekend, and I'll be talking with you in a few, buddy.
Sounds good, man. Take care.
Thanks, Blake. That was Blake, the eccentric Walley. Make sure you go find him and check out what he's up to. And what we're going to do is we're going to leave you with a tune. It's a cool tune. We've been talking about a lot of things from smart meters to GMO foods and cell phones spying on you. And this is a song, and this is the Juice Media Rap News 15, Big Brother is Watching. This is an amazing song. Listen to the lyrics. It's sad but true that we got to go there and go down the rabbit hole and think about this stuff. But like I say, it's better to think about it than wake up and have bad things implemented. It would be a little bit more fun to just watch Comedy Central and ESPN all day. But there's serious stuff going on out there. Any moment, the wolf could be at your door, and that doesn't mean to be paranoid. It just means just be alert, be aware of your surroundings. That's a good message for anybody. I don't care who you are. That's good information right there. So we're going to leave you with this song, Juice Media Rap News. My name's Brian Engelman. This is the New American Media, and the show is Agree to Disagree. And we just want to make sure that you're following us on Twitter at American_media_. Search The New American Media on Facebook and like our page, and subscribe to our youtube.com/The New American Media page. So for now, I'm out. We'll talk to you again in a week. Peace.
You are listening to The New American Media.
Welcome back, netizens, to this newest edition in Juice Media series of rap news journalism with me, Robert Foster. This evening we're actively delving in depth to facts which affect all of us who dwell on this internet, and we've got to give a special welcome to all the ladies and agents from the NSA, ACO, MI5. Glad you're listening in, because today's show is all about surveillance and how it's spreading from the streets into our modems. As we speak, laws are being tacitly written in to implement ways of controlling the expanse of this internet to keep us safe, we're told. But from whom? And will this place ever be the same if these plans go through? To find out, we connect with our first guest to comment on the matter. We're live at the Panopticon with General Baxter. General? Son? Good to have you back again with us. Explain why the state is spying on us.
My fellow Oceanians, as you know, we've always been at war with Eurasia. Or is it East Asia? Either way, it's war and we need division to wage it. But now the proles are connecting online, bypassing these illusory divisions of race, religion, and nationality.
Sounds grand to me.
It's a catastrophe. Centuries of hard work are being undone, profits are vanishing, and it's due to the internet. It's empowering humanity. We need to get this snafu under control rapidly.
How?
Behold the latest weapon in the war of terror. Our greatest invention since 9/11. Guaranteed to keep us free and safe forever. I give you the surveillance state, ladies and generals. Our secret wires log your key style. Monitor every single number on your speed dial. Rewind straight to your position with facial recognition and pinpoint you within 0.03 of a mile. We've put eyes everywhere without consulting you, keeping you safe whether or not you want us to. Soon there'll be no freedoms left for threatening. Then we'll have won the war. Take that, terrorism.
Brilliant. Thank you, General. We now interview our resident guru, Terrence Moonseed, for a different view.
Greetings.
How does this situation look?
I have one word for you, Robert. Double plus on good. The world populace of 7.4 billion are all headed in the direction of Orwellian totalitarian oblivion. My voice is hoarse, yelling about stellar winds, cold chilling them and trap wire weaving through the world wide web we all dwelling in. Face it, the all-seeing eyes in all of our Facebooks like a virus, and in these iPhones with Siri, or should I say Iris. Next in line is RFID devices and mind chips triggered by chemtrails the plague spray the sky with. This time it's too far. Check out the base they're building in Utah, where they'll be storing all your data for over a century. It's FUBAR. And under the outback is an entire tunnel of wires, an echelon base called Pine Gap to hijack our mother Gaia.
Hey, maybe your mother's gayer.
Boo-hoo. Why didn't you just kill yourself like most of your troops do?
That's it. Now you're on the cast iron list.
Hang on, General. Why weren't we informed about this?
Sorry we didn't tell you about our grand plan before. It was meant to be a surprise, under wraps and in store. But some spoil sports had to go and ruin it for all by blowing whistles in spite of the damn law.
Bill, Benny, and Thomas Drake are trailblazers for leaking these tactics.
Hey, civil liberty activists, this is all legal. Anything we do now actually is.
How did...
You can't question my authority thanks to this.
And that shit's global, people. In Australia, it's now legal for the government to store all SMSs, searches, and emails. Australians, it's taking place under your nose. Unless you wake up, all your data are belong to ACO.
Come on, everyone knows you can trust the government now. If you got nothing to hide, you got nothing to worry about.
That might be the case with things that are happening now, because most people agree with most of the laws that are being handed down. But once the Illuminati reveal their agenda for you, this surveillance will enforce laws you no longer consent to. But by then it'll be too late to protest too. And anything you've ever said, typed or browsed can or will be used against you.
I'm confused. So what should we do then?
What should we do? Nothing. This is all an illusion. It's just a ride, a delusion, the Matrix, the Maya deceiving us.
Oh, you hippies really make our job so much easier.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're picking up a signal from beyond the space-time continuum. Quick, switch on the juice channeling portal. Wait, is that George Orwell?
Good day to you.
Wow, what do we owe this honor to?
I tried to warn you noobs, but I see you are actually fools, or else you thought this was an instruction manual.
Yes, so can you advise us? What would you have us do?
An open and universal internet is the most effective tool you have to address the issues that afflict the world at hand. Therefore, protecting it is the most essential task that stands before your generation.
I think I understand.
Hush, man. You must not lose the internet. Heed this mantra. Who controls the internet controls the data. And who controls the data controls the future.
We're losing you.
I leave you with a tool to use. An onion? Don't be simple, Robert. This is but a simile. It stands for Tor.
Tor?
Google it. It's for anonymity. This onion router open network helps considerably against tyranny, but its abilities only work if all you use it consistently. And even if you don't use it, run it, so its force swells.
Thanks, Mr. Orwell.
From now on, call me George Torwell. If we'd had such tools when I wrote this, well, it would have been so much simpler to tell Big Brother to go f*** himself. The mother sucking piece of shit.
Thanks, George Torwell, for manifesting direct from this memory hole of history to impress on us these messages. We're told we need safety, which is precious, yes, but can a society that can enforce all its laws ever progress? Hindsight shows that many figures guilty of thought crime turned out to be luminaries and heroes before their time. But if a surveillance state had reigned then in this form and design, just think of all the progress we may have all been denied. Could lobbies for women's or gay rights have appeared and thrived? Would revolutionary ideals have materialized? Would science have pioneered or even survived if every word had been monitored by thought police and spies? Big Brother brings chilling effects, freezing our collective hopes. He doesn't protect our safety but protects the status quo and threatens this internet, the one channel yet uncontrolled, whose openness we are now called upon to effect and uphold.
If you're tired of the other stuff, take a look at thenewamericanmedia.com.